Evan.
What a big day. Big day. Big day.
Big day. Number 140 of My Cup of Tea.
Ooh. It feels like we never left, Nathan. We just came back from a Hyperspace Hype episode yesterday talking about Skeleton Crew. And now we're back here today. With Superman trailer. We originally were going to have tea on Monday, but James Gunn was like, no. I don't think so. And he put out his Superman trailer, one of the biggest trailers of the year, probably the biggest trailer of the year in terms of like anticipation. It still feels surreal that we're getting a Superman movie in 2025. So that's very exciting. I really like the trailer. I can't wait to break it down with you. We also both saw Craven last week. That is a movie, guys. If people forgot about it, that did come out. Not a lot of people saw it, but we're going to talk about it because we did see it. And we have thoughts. And also Sony had thoughts as well because he talked about how, this was potentially the end, or not even, I don't think they did, but, the press was talking about how this was possibly the end of the Sony Marvel universe. And I know some articles went out there being like, well, it's not technically the end because Sony Marvel is still committing with their, still committed to like Beyond the Spider-Verse. They have the other TV show with Nicolas Cage coming out. But it's like for the movies, for all intent and purposes.
Yeah.
Pretty dead. And then there's like Batman 2 stuff on the DC side of things. What's happening with the Batman 2 Clayface? So I got thoughts on that as well. Lots of fun news this week, last week, and some interesting stuff to dive into. So let's start off here with the Soups trailer, Superman, James Gunn.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull it up, Heather.
Cool. Yeah, this was an interesting trailer. Yesterday we got a teaser of the trailer, and people had lots of thoughts on it. I liked it. I like the coloring of this trailer, the color, whatever it's fucking called. I think it works. Yeah. It's bright. It's different. It's unique. It has some similarities to like the Flash. It is the same same cinematographer, which is good, worrisome. Depends on what you want to talk about it. My only complaint is that all the Superman talk is overshadowing Creature Commandos, and that shit is hitting hard. What's up, Draven? Long time no see. Yeah. I'm liking Creature Commandos too. James Gunn even tweeted out today, like a couple hours ago. He said, all the Superman talk should not let people, forget about Creature Commandos, which comes out on Thursdays. I'm all caught up. I did not watch today's episode because I'm here. But I usually watch it on Fridays. So far, so good. It's not blowing me away. It's not hitting hard. But it's James Gunn doing an animated TV show, and it feels like it. It's not breaking the mold or anything. But yeah, we can talk about that later on. I got some thoughts. Have you caught up yet?
I have not. I haven't started it yet. I need to.
Okay. Derpy, what's up, man? Watch episode 4. I will watch episode 4. I don't have time, guys. I don't have time. I can't watch everything. And actually, on Thursdays, I watch 2 anime. Then I got to watch Silo. All 3 of those things take priority before Creature Commandos. But I'll get to it tomorrow. For sure. I judged Weasel too hard. Last week, what a great episode for not Weasel. Who was it last week? The Tin Man. What a great episode for the Tin Man. I think episode 3 I think each episode is progressively getting better. So the first 2 was fine, and then 3 was good with the Tin Man, and 4 apparently is about the Weasel. So they're going bit by bit by talking about each member of the team. But anyways, we're here to watch Soups. So we're going to watch it in full. We're going to talk over it, and then we're going to break it down. Even though we've probably already seen it multiple times. So here we go.
Okay. Yeah, I hope it plays smooth for everybody. Here we go.
Okay, I'll tell you how it goes. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Okay. Oh man, I feel like this.
Trailer's buffering a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah. It's catching up.
People have probably already seen this trailer 1,000 times, anyways. James Gunn.
That's true. Hey.
I like the guitar riff. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm a sucker for guitar riffs.
Yeah, I'm still with the public who wants like I want to hear what John Powell's own Superman theme is. I want to hear what he has to say. I like the podcast and stuff. That's very sweet. Probably before he dies, obviously. Crypto, the super dog. Did anybody watch Crypto, the TV show Crypto? I loved that show.
Oh yeah,
growing up. That was a great show.
He's so cute.
Crypto, he's a super dog.
Take me home.
Very sweet moment. What a great shot. Fantastic shot. Is. I think he's going to kill it as Lex. I cannot wait to see Lex. Baravia. That looks like the constant whispering of Superman. Very cool.
Yes.
Green Lantern look is a choice.
Right. Oh, it's so visually pleasing.
I agree. I think the romance between him and Lois is going to be great. Who is he fighting there? We got Mr. Terrific. A lot of heroes. July 11th. This is going to be a big deal. Filmed for IMAX. I wonder if that's true.
I think it's clearly is.
I mean, tons of people say they filmed it for IMAX, and then like 80% of it, 70% of it, 60% of it.
Well, this whole trailer is that expansion.
True. So we'll see. So I'm excited. I'm very much anticipating this movie. There were some complaints that it was too many heroes in this one movie, but I think, or at least in this trailer, because we know we're getting tons of heroes in the movie itself. Because if people forget, this is not Superman year one, like Man of Steel was. This is Superman year two, and as James Gunn's mentioned in the past and in the press, he's saying that him and Lois aren't just now meeting; they know each other. So they're going to have a pre-established dynamic. Whether she still is like ambivalent towards him by the time the movie starts, we'll see. But they're obviously going to get romantic. They're not going to like tow us along for this movie.
Right.
They're gonna get romantic. I presume like at least halfway through, so that the emotional impact by the third act is pretty strong. And I can't wait for the Lois and Clark stuff. Lois and Clark stuff is just my jam. I love that aspect of the Superman lore. And his stuff with Crypto seems very exciting. And I don't mind having all these heroes in the movie. I'm confident James Gunn can nail the heart and soul of a Superman movie, even with Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, and many others to be seen. Rick Flag's in this movie, of course. There's a mysterious guy who he's fighting in all black in this movie. So there's a lot of villains, heroes that we just have not seen yet, but they are in this movie. Supergirl was cast early because she's going to be in this movie in some way or form. So, it does give me pause, with all the casting. But again, I have confidence in James Gunn. And this trailer gave me confidence in James Gunn to do justice. What do you think happened here, by the way, to get him so knocked out on his ass? Presumably miles close to where the Sanctum is, the
Fortress of Solitude.
Fortress of Solitude, yeah.
I'm not too sure what it is. Whatever the larger threat at hand will be, I'm sure, at the very least. I don't know. There's a lot of different elements here that are of great conflict.
Yeah, and in the fact that he was bleeding, like it has something to do with like kryptonite. Obviously, it has something going wrong in the fortress, and we see a couple of shots of the fortress when he's over that robotic. When he's over that robotic, like damaged being, and he's crying, it's like that was also in the fortress. So something like heartfelt and something hurtful physically affects him in the fortress, coughing up blood. So kryptonite is definitely involved, or magic, but most likely kryptonite. I love the close up shots here. Great stuff so far. Crypto in the distance coming up here, really good. I can't wait.
Very
So yeah, again, I'm very curious to see what I like the guitar stuff, but I'm very curious for what goes on here.
Yeah. Nice to see a bustling daily planet.
I agree. I think I
Classical
like
stuff.
it. It has like that 60s kind of like retro look to it, especially because of the cinematography. But like overall, I like the look of this whole thing. I haven't really paused it for any Easter eggs, but again, I like Lois Lane here. I'm forgetting her name. Wow.
Her name is Rachel Brosnahan, right?
Rachel Brosnahan. Thank you.
Brosnahan.
She's great, and I can't wait to see her performance. So far, so good. Amy Adams killed it, and I'm sure Rachel will too, especially with a more fleshed out role.
What a tiny home. What a modest
tiny home. Yeah, can't really get the Kent farm wrong. And I think this is going to be early in the movie, or they're not early in the movie because obviously it won't be in chronological order. I think he'll probably be dead by the time the movie starts, obviously. But
I don't know. It could be.
You don't think so? It could be.
He could remain for a bit because I know like a big thing with the death of here is that he dies from a heart attack, and that is like a big symbolism for Superman that he can't, some things he can't save people from, and that's something to reconcile with. I'm sure he's going to be hitting a lot of roadblocks in his superhero journey.
So no tornadoes, is what you're saying. Oh man.
I heard something about that. I think I heard someone say it might be. Well, I heard someone might have said it's Ultraman, who is like a type of
Ultraman. What?
Not Ultraman, but like
Ultraman
of that
DT.
name. Because it was like a year on their belt.
Oh, he was in the Justice League TV show. I think he was.
Yeah, who is like an
evil Superman.
Yeah, but not specifically Bizarro, unless they mold the two.
Yeah, Bizarro is a bit too crazy.
Too soon.
Too soon, too crazy. Is like Bizarro seems like the imperfect clone. We could be getting something like that, something that can physically put Superman on his ass, as we see here and later in the trailer. I wouldn't put it past Lex to do something like this in this movie.
Right.
Especially as a first villain. What?
Yeah, this is wonderful. Crypto. This whole trailer made me tear up a lot, Evan. This is you really get that sense of like wonder and magic of like this is a superhero who saves people. Not just like a random, like strong person who's fighting the apocalypse again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I mean, I didn't get super emotional, but it was uplifting. It was a very uplifting trailer. I felt a lot of like hope, and I was just very happy watching this. And I'm not the biggest Superman fan. He's not my kind of superhero, but I really love this trailer. It really hit all the right notes. Again, the overcrowding, it is what it is, but like all the Superman aspects of this trailer really hit hard for me. This is fan-fucking-tastic. This is fantastic. What a beautiful shot.
This especially is really cool to see. It looks like, I mean, at first glance, you're like, kid, move. What are you doing? But I don't know, like this giant monster, but it clearly is just taking a step down.
This is Godzilla from Godzilla -1 here.
How dare you?
What?
Well, that's the Godzilla we actually love to hate. I really like the blur effect they did on Clark here when he's doing the super speed. You can see like multiple versions of himself in between some frames.
Oh, so this isn't actually David running. Okay, gotcha.
I mean, presumably it is.
I thought he was fast.
That's why they cast him, right? But yeah, you can see like 5 versions of him speedy through it. It's very nice aesthetically.
Great point. I like that a lot. You think they actually threw that at him? All those pipes? They hit him in the back.
Yeah, they're rubber.
Now do it again. Take two.
Take 37. Just beat the shit out of David.
Let's pause it right here once the flare gets out of the way.
Nah. Blocking the sun. Good stuff here.
This is the good shit, guys. And I'll say it right now.
Look at him.
This is my most anticipated aspect of the movie. I'm a huge Nicholas Hoult fan. What a year he's having with, this trailer. Nosferatu. He's in juror number 20, juror number 2, whatever is coming out. He was in The Order coming out, or that's already out right now as well. It's like this guy is consistently putting out great work. Like, I don't think he's ever turned in a bad performance. He's been in a couple of hit and miss movies. Obviously, we all saw the X-Men movies.
He's never bad.
He's never bad. Exactly. He's always committing, whether it's super crazy, super dramatic, or super like Lex Luthor is a dramatic villain, but he's also he can be goofy at times, like indirectly goofy. And I wonder what kind of Lex they go for here. James has famously said his favorite Lex is the Lex from Smallville. I never watched Smallville, but I've seen clips obviously as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I think his name is Michael. Did a
Michael
fantastic
Rosenbaum.
Yeah, did a fantastic job as Lex. So I'm very curious to see what kind of Lex they go for here. I think obviously they don't go the BVS route, which I thought was fine for its own interpretation. But I still think Jesse Eisenberg did a good job there. But real quick, there are some Lex Luthor tidbits here. So obviously the movie starts off with Lex already not being a fan of Superman. He already hates Superman, as James Gunn says here. And this movie, he's really going to take Lex seriously. There was an article that came out that said like he's really going to focus in on Lex's hatred of Superman and how can Lex, because he admits that like in most movies, Lex is like the brunt of a joke. And he's always like, doomed to fail. And while that is the case at times, because obviously he is the villain in a Superman movie, I think James Gunn, I can't find a direct quote here. Lex hates Superman just for existing. But I think James is going to go deeper than that.
It's really like, Superman has these natural born gifts, not like gifts that are like worked for and earned, I guess.
But Lex hasn't earned his stuff too. It depends.
Well, he is a genius intellect. He does come from money, but he does put in like the scientific work of development.
But I think that's the interesting thing. That's the interesting dichotomy that I always liked with Lex. It's like he always says, "I'm the American." It's kind of like Donald Trump. I'm the American people. It's like you're rich. You're super rich. How can you identify with the American people? But that's what his Trump's campaign was about, right? Like, I'm the American people. I understand you guys' plight. Vote for me, that kind of stuff. Lex Luthor the same way, where it's like, I'm the everyday man. We got to be fearful of this alien creature. But Lex, you're not the everyday man. You're a super genius. You have a lot of money. It's like, should you really be focusing this stuff, your hatred on Superman? And that's the interesting thing why Lex is such a fascinating villain. And,
he's probably like a big public figure as well, who's probably going to sway a number of people in the public to be anti-Superman that we even see in the trailer here.
Yeah, exactly. And he has like this huge building, so we know like he became multiple times, whether you're reading a Superman comic, a Batman comic, a Superman TV show, I think in every media Lex Luthor eventually becomes president, and it's an interesting aspect to his character.
What do you think of the name Luthor Corp?
Is it Luthor Corp? I thought it's not Lex Corp.
It's usually Lex Corp. This is Luthor Corp.
Oh, man, that's a good point. Yeah, I like it. It's different. Oh, I found the quote, by the way. He says, James Gunn says, he's imposing. You go, oh, fuck, poor Superman. That's the thing we never see, not in film. Sometimes in the comics, you go, Superman's fucked. because Lex is so smart, so good at what he does. But in the movies, you're going, Lex is about to get fucked. So the gun on his legs, he's going to be like, oh, we're going to take him seriously. Not the more like, oh, Lex is in trouble kind of thing. And here we go here. Agent 47. I've seen those
He
movies,
really
but
does.
he definitely has kryptonite bullets in there, right?
That's what I was wondering. Unless this is just early on figuring out that he is truly bulletproof, the Man of Steel.
Yeah, I don't think it takes a lot to figure that out.
Right. Well, yeah. Look at him. Look at him go.
What a
Where is
great
he?
shot. There's a lot of people
around?
surrounding him. Yeah. This could be Argus, Amanda Waller's people that are prominent in this movie. It could be Lex's people as well.
Are they just in cubes?
Yeah, we did see those cubes in that last shot with Lex and the gun. So wonder what's going on here.
Okay, yeah.
So it's in the same location. Man, Holt is gonna be great as a Lex. So this is Baravia. And then Europe, not the Middle East. I know some people think it's the Middle East, but it's in Europe.
Yeah, there was a pivot, I think.
Yeah. Superman. Nah, I think I like this. I like just his worldwide appeal of Superman. And the kid reminds me of the quote that David Corenswet said about Superman, where he said James Gunn was initially not going to do the trunks for Superman. But he was convinced by David, the actor who plays Superman, to put the trunks in there. Why? Because kids, when they're growing up, they look up to a lot of wrestlers. He wanted some WWE inspiration, and Superman putting the trunks on there is a way to connect to the children. So that's his in-universe explanation for the trunks in the movie. To appeal to the kids, appeal to their dreams, appeal to their fantasies, the WWE fantasies of it all. So, and Superman has to do that. He's an alien coming to Earth, and any way to connect to the public is important.
Indeed. The suit's pretty worn here.
Very worn, probably after the gigantic dinosaur attack.
Yeah.
Alien attack. Yeah.
Wow, everyone sucks.
Yeah, they're not happy with him. And this is year 2 Superman, so he's still figuring things out. I don't think this is a thing where it's just he killed some people. Maybe he did. I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not in this movie. No.
I presume, like I was saying, it's probably propaganda spewed from Lex to the people.
Probably, but also there was damage. We see a falling building later in the trailer, or maybe we passed it already. But there's been a lot of damages, and if Superman can't save the day, can't save everything, then people might get upset. But we're getting a shot of Superman dealing with this emotionally. Very good. Yeah. We see Stag Industries, by the way.
Yeah, I was intrigued by the shot because you could see it by his logo that it's a reverse shot.
Oh.
I was like, that's cool. I like things like that.
But this is Stag Industries. Stag Industries is responsible for creating a lot of supervillains and superheroes, and connected to the whole Metamorpho character that we see in this trailer. So yeah, well, weird.
Weird. The hair.
I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, well, I mean, he looks like that in the comics, though. He's a big goof.
I mean, sure. You don't have to do it. Guy Gardner is a lot of different. There's a lot of different Guy Gardner hairstyles in the comics, though.
It does look better or worse than Charlize in F9.
That was bad to the bone. This is up there, but again, I get it. It's 1930s Guy Gardner, or maybe not 1930s. It's early, first iteration Guy Gardner stuff here. It's not my thing. If you're a general audience member, when you see that shot, you're supposed to be like, are you hyped, or you're just like, what the hell? Maybe we're both ways.
What's he doing in the window here? You think he's just making a defense for the
making a defense, muting the sound so we can talk to Superman probably. But we see Posey here. We see Mr. Terrific. We saw Hot Girl right here. So this is not the Justice League. If people are, coming onto this podcast thinking the Justice League. Justice League, as James Gunn said, is far from being formed. This is presumably the Justice Society. But even then, even in the what's it called? In the lead up to this movie, when we saw them filming these scenes, they have like these insignias on their arms. Him, Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl. They are, and I believe it's because they are part of the Justice Society or they are working with somebody. I forget his name right now. They're just working for like an entity, and then eventually they're going to realize the error of their ways, or maybe not necessarily error of their ways, but come around to Superman and come around to forming the Justice League or something. Because I think these costumes are just like it's weird that Guy Gardner's wearing like a costume like this and not like the Green Lantern, suit.
It's a little green. Like I've seen a Green Lantern suit like this before. He does have the lantern on his shoulder there, and like the white patterns. Hawkgirl looks great.
I cannot wait. Isabella Merced, one of my favorite actresses. We talked about her a lot during our Alien Romulus review.
Yes.
And she'll be seen next in Dina in The Last of Us as Dina in The Last of Us Part 2, Season 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all fighting this alien dino figure. This could be very early in the movie. This could be Superman's intro action sequence here.
Yeah, you think this is an alien?
What else could it be?
I don't know what's on Earth in the DC universe.
Oh, like somebody could have created it. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. I think what's throwing me off with like it's like otherworldly and yet tangible is like how human the eyes look on this creature.
Oh, I didn't even take a moment to think about that. Yeah,
it's just like really intense.
This is built from the combined bodies of 30 dead people.
30 dead Michael Shannons.
So yeah, Superman. This is why like his suit was like burnt in that one shot where he's getting hit with cans or whatever. This is a fascinating shot. I think it's very well lit.
It's like it's the initial promo image we saw. It's the same scene.
Same scene where he was like suiting up in the promo image. In the background, people are like, "Why is he just talking with Lois Lane when there's a battle going on in the background?" The battle seemed to be like Green Lantern. You see the green over there. People have said like, "Oh, maybe it's repairing this city, not destroying the city." That could be the case, but there'll be a fine in-universe reason for why he's like taking his time here and prioritizing Lane over the city.
Yeah.
But again, guys, I'm very much anticipating this relationship. I think it's going to be sweet.
Absolutely. Look at them. Beautiful.
Yeah, and they kiss a lot in this trailer. So I wonder how many times they kiss in the movie.
This is interesting. I don't know what this robot is. I mean, do you think it might be Kryptonian at all?
1000%. My first thought was like, what makes him cry like this? I presume I wouldn't be surprised if we go to the theater and see this robot is like, portraying his parents, maybe his dad, maybe his mom.
I was thinking that as well.
And it's showing him his past on Krypton, and at the end of the presentation or whatever, it fizzes out, breaks down, and you see that. Or by the looks of it, it is cut in half. Maybe whoever attacks Superman, robot guards as well. Whoever attacks Superman could have destroyed this. That Goku Vegeta fighting in the background. Oh, and the dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
That's what it was, Draven. Thank you. Couldn't think of the name. Maxwell Lord. Pull that up again. The Maxwell Lord comment. It's probably Just League International. I wouldn't say Just League International. I think it's Maxwell Lord sponsoring the Justice Society. I think Maxwell Lord was cast in this movie, if I'm wrong.
Life is good, but it could be better.
But I think Maxwell Lord could be like somebody sponsoring the Justice Society. And Maxwell Lord isn't the best person, so maybe the Justice Society changes when they see Superman's actions. But again, going to this robot, I think it has something to do with sentimental value to his family, and that's why he's so sad.
I think so. Very good. The fortress forming.
Fortress forming, very cool.
This guy.
And this is Metamorpho, played by Anthony Carrigan, who I love. from Barry. If you guys have not watched Barry, it's one of my favorite shows of the past decade. Consistently great seasons. He's playing Metamorpho, a person who worked for Stag Industries, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was like betrayed by Stag and his enforcers when looking for something. He was like a mercenary. Every DC villain / hero used to be a mercenary.
Yeah.
And then he was a Sean Gunn. He used to be a mercenary, betrayed by Stag, and got hit. Oh yeah, he was Victor Zsasz in Gotham. He was that as well. I didn't watch all of Gotham. I watched season 1. But anyways, Metamorpho, his powers, he can, as the Metamorpho implies, he can change and alter his body chemistry to that of any element, any atom on the periodic table, basically. And for the most part, he's a good character. He looks weird, but he's good. And I think that's going to be, I don't know how the hell he factors into this movie, but again, he's one of many characters in this movie. So we'll see. Let's keep it going here.
Domino effect over here.
A lot of debris. They're not very good.
Boy. Is that, you think that's a Wayne Tower?
It's gonna be funny as hell. Hopefully nobody's in that building. Oof.
Right.
Maybe Lex is in that building.
Look at him. Look at Lex. So intense. So much hate.
Why so angry? And yeah. There's the Baravian troop stuff, as we saw earlier in the trailer with the flag, all whisperings for Superman.
I heard somebody was saying about Baravian that I think they were also like reading some stuff on the newspapers that are in the trailer, and I think it was saying that Gorilla Grodd is attacking this place.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I doubt it, but
I thought that too, Draven.
You thought which one was Brainiac? The alien?
Yeah. Right here. The last shot. Right.
Oh no! Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not as well versed in the DC lore, so I was
too soon.
Too soon. All right. Fair enough. Oh, do you think they caught the building? Do you think that would be cool? Because we're not adhering to physics here.
Not at all. It doesn't matter. So that's either the dino thing or the building. Yeah.
Look at my boy. Look at him. Such a good boy.
So cool.
Just dragging his lifeless corpse.
Yeah. Like Crypto, he's gone. He's gone. Stop tracking him. He's gone. No.
Hey, this guy.
This is the evil Superman, as the rumors imply, or something like that. Or he's a Black Noir.
Yeah.
From The Voice. So we'll have to wait and see. Not much to say about that, but evil Superman, maybe. We'll see. He's giving Superman a run for his money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right here, I guess, right?
He's literally flying into him.
Wow.
So yeah. Oof. Mr. Terrific.
It's a really cool mask. A really cool mask.
I just looked him up prior to the podcast. Played by Eddie. Is EDI and then something I can't pronounce. I'm not going to butcher it. But not familiar with his work. But I'm excited for Mr. Terrific. I don't have a lot of information about him.
He was in X-Men First Class for a little bit.
Oh, he's a dude that, the meme?
Remember the X-Men killed the one guy that can't die?
That guy, yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that on the time.
I'm glad he's getting his redemption in the superhero world. Looks cool. We got the T-Spheres. Mr. Terrific is one of the most intellectual, smartest characters in the DC universe. He works with T-Spheres, which have a lot of different applications for defense and attack.
Do you think these are soldiers of Lex, given the green and purple?
Sure. I was thinking of Hulk, but let's go with that.
Stay on brand, David. Come on, you're better than this. I know you're better.
Since the guy who says Spider-Man quote every podcast.
I didn't have one. I was about to say that's my secret cap. It's not Spider-Man.
This is a sweet scene. I like it.
It is. Look at him. Look at him go. Let him run away like a coward. That's what Lex
Yeah,
said.
get back down here, Superman. Stop going up. And that's it.
Is it?
Right? Oh. Lois and Clark, hand in hand. You need to get together in this movie? I'm just kidding. Obviously they do.
You think they hook up?
Yeah. They break up at
You
the
want
end
to
of
make
this
a baby?
movie. Do you want to make a baby? Why was I watching like the ending of Arrival the other day? I was like, oh man, this hits. Filmed for IMAX, only in theaters. It's not going on HBO Max on the same day. Just kidding.
God, please no. Not like this.
July 11th, people have always been, curious about that release date. 2 weeks after, maybe 1 week after Jurassic World, the next chapter, whatever it's called. And then 2 weeks before Fantastic Four. I still contend. I'll say it right here on the podcast, December 19th. Superman will make more than Fantastic Four.
Yes.
That's my theory. It's not going to make $1 billion. I'm looking at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Volume 3 levels, 830 million, 840, 850, which I think would be like a big success.
350 million open a weekend, baby.
I hope so. If Thor: Love and Thunder can crack like 600 million, what this movie is going to make bank. It's going to make good money.
I mean, what if it did make $1 billion, Evan?
What did the Batman make? Matt Reeves, the Batman.
Didn't it hit somewhere like 700-800?
Let's see here. 772 worldwide. Fantastic Four in November against Wicked and Zootopia.
Oh, that is next. Oh no.
That is not happening. But
I'm
that's a good
still
guess.
sad that the Fantastic Four are not opening on any number date with a 4 in it. What a missed opportunity.
Wow, only you would.
The delays. We're on the verge of greatness, Evan, multiple times. We were this close, and then the delays.
That's a good. Speaking of delays, Nathan, let's talk shop. Let's move on from Superman. Let's keep it DC. Let's talk about the Clayface movie, which has been officially confirmed. Not official, but as official as you can get. September 11th. Is it September 11th? Is it 9/11?
It is.
It is? Okay. I was
never forget. Clayface, never forget.
September 11th.
What do you mean my stream was flagged? What do you mean?
Oh boy. We've gotten to the point where people are making anyways. September 11th.
We've been in that point for years.
I know. It's still weird to me. Like I've never been.
I was thinking about that. I was like, how soon is too soon? I was thinking about that with like the Titanic movie, and I was like, that is a massacre of a tragedy. That is terrible. And then just hundreds of people die.
It's bad.
It was like, what, 80 years later? It's like, okay. But then, like, 9/11 did happen. And then they made movies, like, 3 years after.
Yeah.
In honor of it. But it was like,
Yeah. But speaking of 9/11, the Clayface movie is dropping 9/11 2026. Gosh. I'm trying to move the topic like that.
25 years later.
And it's the Clayface movie directed by the GOAT of horror movies, James Wan. No. He is, but
Lee Winnell is Clayface.
Winnell. Yes. That'd be actually cool casting. But he's directing now. Fuck.
I hope fans do.
What's his name? Help me out. Starts with the M.
It's Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan. I'm terrible with names, guys. If you haven't, 1 of 40 episodes in.
The Exorcist 2 and 3 is Mike Flanagan.
Is he doing both sequels?
He is, yeah.
So, when is that movie coming out, by the way? Exorcist, Mike Flanagan.
I would assume 26.
March 2026. Mike is a working machine.
Let's go.
Mike is a working machine. Stopped. He's going to have a banger at the beginning of the year because it's going to be good, guys. And he's going to have one at the end of the year in September, March and September 2026. 2 Mike Flanagan movies. I assume Exorcist already finished filming. Maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't even know who's in it.
Maybe he's filming this one first. Or maybe Exorcist moved.
Because he had to do like a complete rehaul on the story, I think.
Yeah. As of right now, he was just signed on to write, direct, and produce the new film, and this was as of May 29th, 2024. This is for Exorcist, by the way. And now, a few months later, he's been assigned to do Clayface, and I already hear Clayface is filming as early as like next January or next March or spring. But anyways, it's described as DC's version of The Fly. And this will be produced by Matt Reeves. And the question was last week, like, oh, it's produced by Matt Reeves, so it's obviously set in the DC universe Elseworlds, the world of the Batman. Not the case. Matt Reeves has, it hasn't been official yet. People like Jeff Snyder, some people in the press have theorized Matt Reeves' his role has been elevated within the world of DC, where although he is doing Elseworlds movies, as in the Batman Part 1, Batman Part 2, and presumably Batman Part 3, although he is doing those Elseworlds stuff, he is still like a creative influence within DC, and he's going to be heavily involved in DC projects, even if they aren't in his universe, even if it isn't like the Penguin or the Batman and stuff like that. He will still be heavily influenced within the world of DC just because of his creative mind and the way it works. So yeah, he will be producing the Clayface movie, and Matt Reeves will be, or Mike Flanagan will be writing and directing it. I believe there was some more Clayface information. What are your thoughts, though, first off, about getting a Clayface movie?
It's very cool. I think you can have some beautifully tragic horror story with this. It's very compelling. I'll be interested to see how it rolls, whether or not they would function with or without a Batman in it. And
I don't think Batman will be in it, yeah.
Probably not. We saw...
Especially because they didn't cast Batman yet in the DCU.
No, they haven't, and it's still a shame that they can't just do Pattinson.
I like that it's different. I like that his world is separate, but if they change their minds one day, I wouldn't be too upset because as long as they keep it like standalone. But looking at the world,
do we want another 40-year-old Batman, Evan?
I wouldn't mind it, but looking at the world that we just saw with Superman, that trailer, all the superheroes, all the goofy craziness, the hairstyles. Does that fit with Matt Reeves' Batman universe?
Yes.
At least the Gotham world. And yes. I know what you're saying. Like the easy excuse is like Gotham is just completely different from everything else in the world. And it is.
The comics do it. The cartoons did it. They can do it.
True. So yeah, again, I don't mind it. That's a guarantee. Draven asked, was that Draven or Derpy? I think it was Draven. He asked, will we get the Batman part, or will we get Brave and the Bold before Batman Part 3? 1,000%. Look how long it's taken us to get Batman Part 2. Batman Part 1 came out 2022.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago. It's coming out in 2026. 2026 at the earliest. It could get delayed again.
Average length
4 years.
Movies for Matt Reeves.
Exactly. Matt Reeves loves to cook. And then you can just presume Batman Part 3 will be 2030 at the earliest. 2029 maybe if we're lucky. But by 2030, it's like that's like saying, will we get Brave and the Bold before 2030? And I think yes. I think Brave and the Bold is coming out 2027, 2028, somewhere around those on the lines. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Batman is cast next year between January through December 2025. I think we'll learn who the new Batman is. We already have the director, Andy Muschietti, for now. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves too, though. But I'm with you, man. I'm very excited for Clayface. It's described as a horror tragedy. The budget is presumably in the 40 million range. Takes place in the DCU. The character won't be painted as a villain. It's a horror tragedy. Mike Flanagan famously said he loves the clay-face episodes of Batman the Animated Series. I would love to do a commentary with you of those episodes because I also very much love those episodes. It's very dark, tragic, and cool. Like the way the muddy design of the character, it's very cool.
Losing your identity.
Exactly. And it's not going to be it's not going to be super grounded. It's going to be set in the DCU, so I assume we can get like design like the Batman animated series, where it's like very muddy. Probably a mix of practical and visual effects, obviously.
The description of like the Fly is very interesting. Do you think this will be an intensely rated film?
No, I'm leaning toward like The Substance.
That is an intensely rated film.
Rated? It's rated R.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
I don't know why I worded it that way, but yeah.
Intensely rated film.
Just because, whenever we're talking about like extended universes and stuff, it's always like, the solid PG-13. Like, no one's going hard R often. But we know like there's a lot of different elements that the DCU is currently doing. Like Creature Commandos isn't probably your typical PG-13 stuff, I imagine.
Creature Commandos is totally rated R. People are fucking
okay.
So I would assume they're not showing it, or they kind of are, but like I can't really see WB willing to have two Batman continuities going on at the same time. Yeah, they will. I think James Gunn is fine by that.
As right now, they will, and I don't think it's a good idea.
You don't think it's a good idea?
I don't think it's a good idea to just have two congruent Batmans running.
It won't be. They won't be there for long. It's already by the time like the Batman trilogy is ending in 2030 with Batman Part 3, at least 2030. Like, and then from then on there,
that's the next 6 years of universe.
But we don't even have the first Batman movie yet. The Batman movie can come out, and then by the time the sequel rolls around, he'll be the only Batman in the DCU. Like, it'll be fine. They'll only be mixing for one. They'll only cross over at one time. But we're going to get full. Yeah, and I think that's fun. We're not going to get fantastical stuff with Matt Reeves' Batman universe. That's not.
They could if they wanted. They just treat it serious. Like they could do Clayface theoretically in the Matt Reeves verse and just treat it very serious body horror.
They could, but again, it's like I don't want. It's too late now to transition Pattinson into a goofy.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. We're so early in his universe. He has one installment, and then there's a Penguin show that is.
Sure, we're early in his career, but the filmmaking style of that movie, I'm not watching Batman.
You can have different styles. That's fine. That's encouraged.
Sure, but I would want to have that in a wholly different universe. Like, for example,
why?
I want this DC universe to have like Robin, which we are getting Robin, all this fantastical weird shit. That's not happening with the Batman. Just the world that we've set up, where like. Just something's in the way, like that has nothing to do with like fantastical craziness, and I like that. I like that. Just
though.
Just give me a grounded trilogy. I'm fine.
All right, Evan. But if
you can have both,
if we get Batman 2 and they go full commitment on someone like Mr. Freeze, which everyone is clamoring for. If they do that, I cannot see any argument of just like it can only be in this grounded reality.
You can't do a grounded Mr. Freeze.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
And if it ends up being that, then what? The domino has fallen?
We'll have to wait and see. You can't go super grounded. Mr. Freeze is a guy in an ice costume. Like,
yes.
You can't really go grounded with Mr. Freeze. He's shooting ice at people. But I trust Reeves to do something unique and interesting.
I think you can find a balance between the wacky and the serious. I think
you can. You can. I'm not saying you can't. But again, I don't need that to get super wacky or super fantastical within the Batman universe. I just don't think that's happening. Like I like, and even Reeves said like this is the Batman crime saga. You can keep it crime focused.
It's always crime. He's the world's greatest detective.
I don't know why you're arguing about this when we can just have both. Why isn't both better than just merging? Like who?
Not necessarily. I don't think because they're going for an older Batman. with such a younger Superman. That's not a great idea.
We keep seeing older Batman. We haven't seen this Batman yet. He could be like 35, 40. 40's young.
Yes, but like not to like what, a late 20s?
How old is Keanu Reeves right now?
He's in his like 50s.
Like, that's a good example. He's 60 years old.
Okay.
He's 60. If we
I'm not saying that Batman isn't physically capable. I'm not saying like it wouldn't be a physically capable Batman. I'm saying it's just.
But we could have like 20 years of Batman stories. People will be fine.
But they're like also, fine. But they're also going on a road to like plug in the entire Bat family.
Yeah.
To presumably be like even more of a greater focus than the actual Batman himself.
You're extrapolating. We don't know that yet. We don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see.
We will.
We will, and it will be a mistake.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a mistake.
You have a young Superman, you have a great young Batman, and they could both be an interesting world's finest. I don't see a world's finest with like a young Superman and just a withered Batman.
Let's get this young Superman out the way. How old is David Cornsway? He's not in his 20s. He's David. Let's look him up. Ladies and gentlemen. David Cornsway is 31 years old. Wait, I didn't see the comment. What did he say?
Right.
I'm thinking he'll be either mid-30s. Yeah, David Cornsway is 31 years old. By the time the movie comes out, he'll be 32. Pattinson's 38.
He's 38?
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, because Bruce is in his late 20s in that movie. And presumably so is Clark. So that's what I'm saying. And they can play younger. But, you know, presumably
they're definitely playing younger. Yeah.
They're going to get like an older a middle-aged actor for Batman to be the father of Damian Wayne.
Yeah. So I have confidence, guys. I have confidence.
It just that just feels odd. That just feels odd because it's such a big jump over all of Batman's development of years of, you know, having a full rogues gallery and having dynamic. Like, you've already passed Robin, you've already passed Dick Grayson, you've already probably passed Jason Todd if he was there, and you're already on like so many Robins past. You're introducing this entire Bat family that we haven't experienced him come to know this. It's like just dropping right into a team up film without getting to know the characters.
That is a justifiable worry. I would love to see the development of him getting a Robin and developing that heart. Hal Jordan's going to be in his 50s.
But we are getting Jon Stewart, who's younger.
Yeah, Hal Jordan's not making it out of the series, buddy.
Why do everyone have to die with you? Because
what? He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
I think Guy Gardner has a better chance of going out than Hal Jordan.
He's dead too.
You just killed all the Lanterns?
What's Friday Night Lights dude? What's his name? Kyle Chandler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 60 years old. 59.
We're having two different Batmans. We don't know why.
We do know why. It's a good idea. That's why. You can have both.
We're just yelling at each other for viewers once we've had in a while.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Share the link. Share the love.
Stoke the flames.
Stoke the flames. What was I saying? I'm fine with it. Back to Clayface though. Coming out September 11th, 2026. Batman Part 2 coming out October 2026.
Well, if they're not in the same universe, so what's the problem?
Shut up. Even if they're not in the same universe, it's two Warner Brothers movies 1 month after each other. Two big properties.
They did it with Aquaman and Wonka, didn't they?
Did Aquaman and Wonka come out in the same timeline?
Yeah, they're both in December. They're
both in December. I mean, that's true. But I just don't see. It's a written rule. I just don't see Clayface, a big DC production, coming out, especially because of marketing, right? I just don't see Clayface Clayface and Batman Part 2 coming out 1 month after each other. I think Batman Part 2 is getting delayed. Hopefully not until like 2027. But I can see it being until like December, maybe a few months later, December 2026. There is a gap. Like people think like either Dune Messiah is coming out December 2026 or The Lord of the Rings Search for Gollum is coming out 2026. Neither of those have been confirmed. I think it's still ample time to put Batman Part 2 in that December 2026 slot. Give Denis some time for Dune Messiah. I think he really needs it, especially because I think Dune Messiah is such a big transition from Dune Part 2. You don't really need to rush Dune Messiah. Paul, the characters of that movie are completely different than they are in Dune Part 2. Not completely, but evolved. So I think it just needs some time from the Dune franchise. I still wish he was doing his other movie before Dune Messiah, to be honest. But, I'm not going to be upset about it getting a Dune movie sooner than later. That being said, again, I just think the Batman Part 2 coming out 1 month after Clayface movie.
Move to different. December of the same year is what you're saying?
Yeah, it'll be December 2026, not October 2026.
Put it in Christmas time because they got Mr. Freeze.
Exactly. And I just don't see that happening for the Batman movie. I just don't see that October situation sticking. The draft stuff has been a constant topic as well this week, Nathan, where people are saying the draft, the final draft is not submitted yet for the Batman Part 2. But at the same time, the Batman Part 2 is currently slated, not confirmed, but currently slated for a 4 to 5 month shoot, beginning, or there's no start date. The only news right now that I see is that Dune Messiah is reportedly set to begin production in July/August, but it won't have Greg Fraser, the cinematographer. Greg Fraser will return to shoot the Batman Part 2. And because Dune Messiah is coming out or filming in July and August next year, people are thinking Batman Part 2 will film around that same time of summer, spring 2025 for a 2026 release date. And yeah, people are upset because they say like Matt Reeves has not finished writing Dune Part 2 or Batman Part 2. But for me, there's been constant times where Matt Reeves has said like he's sent in drafts, so he sent in chunks of his draft to the higher ups at Warner Brothers, to presumably James Gunn and stuff like that. So, and Peter Safran. So I think the script is coming along smoothly. Matt Reeves loves to cook with his script, with his writing. So just give him time. I'm all for it. I don't really mind it. I think it is still coming out. People are like, is this movie ever going to come out? Is it like Beyond the Spider-Verse where it'll never have a release date? I think it'll come out 2026. And right now, I think because there's a question: will we get Beyond the Spider-Verse first, or Batman Part 2? I think we'll get Batman Part 2 before Beyond the Spider-Verse. That's right. I've heard some speculation about Batman Part 2 and 3 being filmed back to back, and that might be why the script is taking so long. Doubt. I'm gonna have to press the doubt button. I don't know if Matt Reeves is the back-to-back filmmaker kind of guy.
Oh no, not really. I mean, granted, I don't know what happened when he signed on to do Apes, right? Because he did Dawn, and then War was 3 years later. Granted, it takes a lot of time to get those effects right, but I don't know how quickly they had him sign on to begin with, since he was the second director to come in on that trilogy.
Yeah,
and that was the first installment. But here, he is a proven track record with his films, and we don't really know what story they're cooking up for Batman. So, depending on what the greater threat is, kind of depends, right? Because if they're trying to go for a bigger story, then yeah, maybe it is 2 parts. But if it's not its own self-contained story, then I buy that too. He's also focusing on the individual projects, right? Like he had some hands in development of the Penguin.
Yeah, he even mentioned in the Variety article, I think when he was talking to Zoe Kravitz for the award season stuff, he mentioned that they are considering heavily the Penguin season 2. Like, those talks have moved up since the Penguin premiere. When they were initially like, maybe we'll see, it's seeming more and more likely that they will be doing the Penguin.
Are they still doing that Gotham police show?
No, I don't know. I think that's gone. I think. But yeah, Reeve said, he even said to Zoe Kravitz right here. She asked, "And you're still writing Batman Part 2?" He says, "Yeah, we're finishing the script. We're going to be shooting next year." And she said, "And more of these shows, everyone's freaking out over the Penguin." He says, "Yeah, we talked to Lauren, the showrunner, about doing another season. That was a special experience. I feel really fortunate. The characters don't belong to me. They belong to the world. It comes down to whether you can approach them in a way that expresses something personal." So again, those talks with Lauren, the showrunner, have been intensifying since the Penguin finale. I think they were even surprised at how well beloved their show was and how the audience was receptive toward the Penguin. I loved it. I can't wait to see more seasons of that. But yeah, the Arkham show that's the one that's definitely not happening anymore. At least not happening in the Elseworlds. That could still be happening in the DCU if they want to reshape it.
Well, it looks like what they're doing they did some exploration with some Arkham stuff in the Penguin. So if they wanted to do a little more there as well and just like bleed ideas into it, then they could do that too.
Exactly. So either way, Batman Part 2 filming next year. It could still very much come out in October. I'm just giving my worry that it's going to move because Clayface is so close next to it. But moving on, we have a lot of other stuff. Clayface. So yeah, Greg Fraser not returning to do Dune Messiah, but he will be returning to do Batman Part 1 or Batman Part 2. I think that's a great choice. Greg Fraser's cinematography on the Batman is gorgeous. I think he nails how to use the volume so well. Those shots of Batman and Catwoman on top of the water tower is just gorgeous. I love the way that Batman looks. There is a rumor that Linus Sandgren from a lot of like La La Land and other productions is doing Dune Messiah. I like that a lot. Let me look up some images to show people like what could they be in for with Dune Messiah. Because I think this will look very cool. Let me put that on bookmarks. So yeah, Linus, he did Saltburn last year, which I really liked. He did Babylon, No Time to Die, La La Land, First Man. So I think it looks I think he's going to have a really cool look for Dune Messiah. It's not confirmed. This is from Jeff Snyder. Let me present this real quick. And I think it'll look really cool. Because people are worried, like, okay, if we can't get Greg Fraser to do Dune Messiah, what's the next best thing? And I think Linus Sandgren is one of the next best things. Of course, Roger Deakins is like a god among men, so that would be fantastic. Yeah, let's share this. So this is just some shots from, again, La La Land, Saltburn, stuff like that. A lot of like black and whites, a lot of noirs and shadows. Yeah, that shows up well. A lot of noirs and shadows. And I keep hearing that Dune Messiah just looks completely different, especially even given like the concept art, the special art that's in the books and the comics, stuff like that. Like Dune Messiah looks very different from Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2. It's not called Dune Part 3. And I think that's a good, a good message for what the movie should look like. So I'm very, very, very excited for what Dune Messiah is going to look like. Again, this
Dune
hasn't
Messiah
been
Part 1.
It hasn't been confirmed. This is from Jeff Snyder, who gets stuff right and gets stuff wrong. So take it with a grain of salt. But for now, I'll choose to believe it. I think it looks very interesting. So I'll stop sharing that. But speaking about Jeff Snyder, just today, he talked about a very interesting rumor, Nathan. I don't don't know if you've heard about this one yet. Have you heard about the Jean Grey casting?
I did briefly see this.
So Sadie Sink from Stranger Things fame, and that one Taylor Swift music video, I think. uh, oh, and she was great in the Fear Street trilogy as well. Fear Street Part 2, especially. She was the focus of the second movie there. She is rumored to be front runner in casting for Jean Grey in Marvel's highly anticipated X-Men project, which is probably coming out in like 2027 at the earliest, 2028 maybe. So we're very, 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 very far away. But like, if they're casting this early, could she appear in Secret Wars? You never really know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Sadie Sink is a great choice. I mean, there's not a lot of redheads in Hollywood, at least that are as prominent as like Sadie Sink or a Sophie Turner, obviously, right? I think Sadie Sink's the right age for X-Men. I keep saying this. X-Men, and I was singing from the high heavens, this new X-Men movie should be like Marvel's take on like Harry Potter with mutants. Start them young. Sadie Sink right now is like 21, 22 or whatever. She's very young. And by the time X-Men comes out, she'd be like 24 or 25 or whatever. She'll still be very young. The early to mid 20s is where you should be casting your X-Men actors. That's the way to go. Grow up with them, just like you're doing with Spider-Man in his like Homecoming trilogy. We want to grow up with the characters as things get progressively more and more dangerous and high stakes. I think starting off with like Jean Grey and the OG team, by the way, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, Angel, Iceman, like the classic one. You might not even need to bring in Rogue, and definitely not like Kitty, Shadowcat. But like it doesn't. I don't care about the formation. I just Jean Grey, Cyclops, nail that. As much as James Gunn seems to be nailing Lois and Clark, your first movie should nail the budding friendship and eventual romance between Jean Grey and Cyclops. That's what I would focus on if I was Feige doing the X-Men movies. But again, Sadie Sink, rumor could be true, could fall apart by tomorrow. But for now, I like the choice. I think it would be very interesting to see Sadie Sink in that role. You agree?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I like her in Stranger Things a lot. Good actress. I don't really know what the vibe should be with Jean Grey, I guess. Like I really like Famke's portrayal, but Sophie Turner wasn't doing it for me too much.
No, that's a great question, dude. Like, what should their Jean Grey go? I think a lot of Jean Grey fans, the biggest of Jean Grey fans that I've seen online, on the Twitter spheres, the biggest complaint with Jean Grey, they never really get the levity with Jean Grey. Whenever you get a Jean Grey appeal, and I think the first X-Men movie might have gotten that right. The very first X-Men movie with Singer and Natasha, like, she wasn't like haunted by like the Phoenix Force that much in the first X-Men movie. But granted, she wasn't really the focus of the first X-Men movie. I don't want Jean Grey to be like haunted by the Phoenix Force in her first outing, even her second outing, maybe even her third outing. It's like, I want Jean Grey to be that fun, maybe because Jean Grey isn't a super like fun character, but like a character burdened by leadership rather than burdened by the Phoenix Force and hurting people she's closest to, scared to use her powers. I want to see a more confident, lively, fun, responsible Jean Grey who's just using her powers and having a difficult time with Scott, having a difficult time with Charles. Like, I don't want my Jean Grey to be burdened by the Phoenix Force. We're so done with that. I don't want any like Phoenix Force, Dark Phoenix shit to happen until like the second phase of X-Men movies. Like, focus in on her, like, being a kid. Like, I want that. Being a young adult in the X-Men universe. That's what I want from Jean Grey, because I think the other ones have just not gotten that right. we were so burdened by, especially as you mentioned with Sophie Turner, just being all about Phoenix Force, all that jazz. Moving on to some other Marvel news, they did confirm. We had some Spider-Verse news, which is rare. I thought we were going to get a release date, but we didn't. But we got confirmation of 2 directors, Bob Persichetti and Justin K. Thompson, who will serve as the directing duo behind Spider-Verse Beyond, or Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Great news. Not too shocking if you know the directing duos behind both movies. Trios. The first movie had like Peter Ramsey, Bob Persichetti, and somebody else. I forget the name. But Bob Persichetti worked on Into the Spider-Verse. Justin K. Thompson worked on Across the Spider-Verse. They were both one of a trio of both movies. And now, using their combined experience, they're going to be a directing duo behind Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. But they have been working on this, by the way. This isn't like, oh, they just got a director team and, they haven't even started animation or script work on the movie yet. No. They, Phil Lord and Chris Miller did come out and say, like, we've been hard at work on it. They haven't just signed on, but this is the official announcement of who exactly is working on it. Because I thought it was just going to be the people who worked on Across the Spider-Verse coming back. But, some of them went their separate ways. But I think Justin K. Thompson, the person who worked on some shows in, Legend of Korra, among other things, and across the Spider-Verse, is coming back. Bob Persichetti, who did a great job along with others on Into the Spider-Verse, is coming back for Beyond the Spider-Verse. And Nathan, probably the same for you. This is like my most anticipated movie for the next few years. I don't think anything is topping even the end of Mission Impossible next year. It's very close between that and Beyond the Spider-Verse. I need Beyond the Spider-Verse. I need it to come out. I need it to be perfect. And now I'll be able to live the rest of my existence happy.
Well, if you had, I had to do this to you, but now I have to do it to you. You had to pick one. Miles Gwen Endgame, or what's her name? Coming back to life in Mission Impossible.
Wow.
Ilsa.
Oh my God.
You had to pick one.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Nathan is a sadist.
I am.
Fuck. Fuck. Okay. I got it.
Do you?
I got it. It's Miles and Gwen Endgame. I need them to be. I need them to kiss. I don't want the friendship bullshit. I need them to kiss. And I it's been over a year since Dead Reckoning. I've reckoned with the ending.
With the dead.
With the dead. And whenever I watch the Mission Impossible 8 trailer, I'm like, yeah, this slaps. This is so good. And I'm excited all over again. Not as excited as I would be if Ilsa was alive, but I'm excited that it's going to be a good movie regardless of her death. Beyond the Spider-Verse won't be a good movie if Miles and Gwen don't kiss and become a couple. They won't. It won't be a good movie. I'm walking out mad if they're like, oh, you know what, Gwen? We're friends. Thank you, Gwen. Fuck that. Kiss, hold hands, come back to the barbecue with Miles' parents. Maybe Miles can meet Captain Stacy. That'd be great.
Glad to have you back, buddy. You too.
I just had an allergic reaction to that. So yeah, I wouldn't want that. But yeah, we have our Spider-Verse directors. That's very exciting. Also, I missed it, but the Dynamic Duo movie with that one animation project, the mix of, like, we talked about it a few months ago. That movie with the animation,
3D and puppetry.
Yeah, 3D CG animation puppetry. All that, and it's all about Jason Todd and Dick Grayson. Those two, the dynamic duo of those two, is confirmed to be coming out in 2028. Long way away. And you can probably presume why. But we just talked about the CG, puppetry, animation, all of that. It's going to take a long time. So they're going to be cooking with that. That's coming out 2028. So DC is setting up their future projects.
And that's
Supergirl's.
presumed to be in the DCU, right? In the canon.
I think it's Elseworlds, given that it's like animation and different. I think it is Elseworlds.
Okay.
But we'll have to wait and see on that. That could change. Supergirl is filming next year. People say like as early as in January. Supergirl is coming out. I think what was it like July 2026 or maybe like fall 2026. So DC moving fast ahead. Even though it all comes down to whether Superman's received well. Other things to talk about. Chris Evans, Haley Atwell, coming back for Avengers Doomsday. Now, my question for you, Nathan, this is pretty big.
Yeah, hit me.
Over, under.
Over.
60%. 60% that Chris Evans is coming back as an evil version of Captain America. And whatever
as an evil version?
Evil version.
To preface, I think that is very possible, but I also believe it's also possible that that would not be the only Captain America Chris Evans would play. Because it's Secret Wars, there's many a variant we're dealing with here. So true. I think you could say over, but be aware that it's not exclusively just an evil Cap. You probably get evil Hydra Cap, normal Cap, Johnny Storm, what have you.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. I guess that makes sense because there's definitely the possibility of having multiple Chris Evans in there. Do you think we could see multiple Downies, by the way, even though we're already getting him as Doom? Or is that doing too much with Downey?
If you do multiple Downies as like down to like him being Tony again, I don't think you're gonna get him until Secret Wars.
Okay.
Hopefully they're smart enough to not just be like Tony's back to save the day again. Hopefully it just be like, hey, cool backup. But the next Avengers are here.
Exactly. When I first saw Chris Evans coming back, I'm like, oh wow, Chris Evans really needs a rejuvenation of his career. But he's doing fine. He's not having the best filmography since Knives Out, but it happens. But I'm seeing Red One tomorrow. We'll see what I feel there.
It's streaming.
Yeah. It's
on Prime.
Yeah, that's how me and Edgar are gonna watch it on.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to the theater. I was like, "There's options."
No, I'm not doing that. But yeah, so when I first saw this, I'm like not too excited by it. Just like I want, me. I want Doomsday to be about the new characters. Your Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel. She's not necessarily new. Like Shang-Chi, your Phase 4 characters, Phase 4, Phase 5 characters. Kamala, yeah, and Anthony Mackie, like he's now also confirmed to be coming back for Doomsday, obviously. But like, I want more of like the Phase 4 new Avengers who are taking over rather than bringing back the old Avengers who sacrificed themselves literally in the last Avengers movie in Endgame. So I'm not too excited about it, but like you mentioned, it's Secret Wars, it's multiverse. Anything and everything that can happen most likely will happen. And I'm gonna have to go with I think he's playing bad. Whether you get a Hydra Cap or you get some kind of other evil version of Cap. There's been multiple versions of an evil Cap throughout the comics. They can go whatever way they want. But I think they go evil Cap here. Give Chris Evans something interesting and juicy to work with here. I don't know if he's going to be working side by side with Downey, but you never know. Draven says, but The Rock wants you to see Red One on the biggest IMAX screen possible because when he saw Oppenheimer, he was like, man, I got to do this shit. I got to do this. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, I think we're going to see evil Cap. Not too excited about it, but it could be interesting. It could be. I don't want to remove that factor. We'll see. Anthony Mackie versus Chris Evans could be fun.
A little weird.
And then like a Hydra Cap working with like Doom, like seeing Downey and Chris Evans work together, but like as an evil duo. seems kind of cool. Not necessary, but it could be cool.
Spider-Man's heart's conflicted.
Oh gosh. Yeah. What do I do? Oh my god.
He won't do that.
Egads.
Egads. Adios
So,
mio.
yeah.
Is Miguel?
I know Spider-Man's Latino now. Oof. Not
oof.
Just like no, just like
I know what you are.
It's just like Peter Parker. Like you, what's going on here? Peter Parker's like the widest name possible. It'd just be weird. So yeah,
I thought of the meme of like the one guy, the one Spider-Man project, and then Miles saying, "Stop calling me that." Oh no.
Moving on. So yeah, for all the Doomsday fans out there, getting into 2025, once he start filming like next summer, in like 5 months they'll be filming Doomsday, where we're gonna see some set photos of Doomsday, which is gonna be crazy. We're gonna see a lot more official casting in the weeks coming up. Like there's gonna be a lot more people rumored and officially cast in that movie. Coming up next, do you watch Invincible at all?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
You're all caught up. Are you excited for Invincible season 3? Did you watch that trailer from a couple weeks back?
I did watch the trailer. I'm always excited for new animation. I'm excited for the continuing adventure here. The trailer didn't like overhype me, but it was cool.
No, it was a lot. Yeah, we got the blue and black suit with Invincible. Mark, thank you. Mark's the blue and black suit because obviously his other suit's getting ripped to shreds. What I'm most excited about, and I haven't read the comics, I really should. I know. I heard it's really, really good. I'm
like
very
don't
read. I know. Oof. I really want to see the development between Eve and Mark. There was a great scene at the end of season 2, which I would defend because I know season 2 has like its haters. And you know, I thought it was really good. I think it was an improvement over season 1, and I think they did a great job with Mark and Amber's relationship and where it rose and where it fell. And the scene of Amber like having a hand to her neck by
I think that was the scene that finally kickstarted me to go watch it. I was like, shit.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It was insane. I'm like, oh man, I felt so bad for Amber, and I think that's really what split them up. Where it's like, I really can't have this relationship as much as I really do like Amber. I can't have that relationship. But then who was there next to him on that beautiful shot over the bridge? Him and Amber really like feeling in a vulnerable situation, or him and Eve in a vulnerable situation. Eve looking at Mark. She's obviously having more feelings than he is of her right now. And she's.
But he also knows from her future self that she has.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Feelings.
Oh man, I forgot. That was a great episode. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice to know? To just like know that you have the option.
Right?
I could have love actually.
Can I have that, please? Can I just go in the future? Like, is that ever going to happen?
Yeah, who could I like? Like you have prompted possible outcomes. Follow the path.
Yes, like a Telltale game.
Choose your own. We are a choose your own adventure. If you think about it.
Honestly, that's very true.
It's called life. But you get one life, no do-over.
Oh boy. Nathan getting deep in the podcast here.
The save file is permanent. No new game plus. That's what we need.
So I'm very excited. Eve was not shown at all, to my knowledge, in that trailer, which is weird. But maybe there's. I don't think so. I remember I watched it, looking out for Eve. I even tweeted about like no Eve.
No Eve.
I knew that was happening.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of big focus on like the fights to come and the the wavering trust on Walton Goggins' character. Names.
Cecil. Cecil. Yeah, that was a big shock. That seemed to be the focus of the trailer. Mark's getting stronger, but Cecil's secrets keep getting highlighted here. Secrets. Mark's like, "What are you hiding from me? That white room, right?" Like there's a lot of secrets that Cecil's hiding from Mark. Mark's getting progressively angry. He could be setting himself apart from Cecil and like the League over there. So it's like very interesting. I can't wait to see that relationship develop because Cecil has always been on the side of good, He's kind of like Amanda Waller. He's good at all costs, and he doesn't really care too much about Mark's well-being for the most part. But also another focus was Mark's stepbrother. The younger version, or not the younger version, like the younger brother that he had from Omni-Man's time away on the other planet. He's growing up fast, as he said he would. He's growing up fast, and he's becoming like a little sidekick, and he's also a pivotal part of season 3 as well. That should be very fun. And then most of all, Omni-Man redemption. At the end of season 2, we saw Seth Rogen's character. I forget his name now. It finally meet Alan. Yeah, Alan meets Omni-Man. He's like, the what do they call
together
it?
A team.
big shot gangster. What's their race called that's coming to attack them?
Does it start with a T? No V.
Viltrumite. Viltrumites are coming to Earth. If people forget, they made an ultimatum with Mark, which was like pronounced in this trailer. The ultimatum was like, "We'll take your father. He's going to die. He's going to get executed. Meanwhile, prepare your Earth, Mark, for a Viltrumite takeover. That's the deal. And if you can't do that, we will come. We will take over Earth, and we will kill you." So that's the whole. People are very excited because there's like this one Viltrumite general. I forget his name now, but people are very excited to see him beat the shit out of Mark in season 3.
Is that the one that's voiced by Clancy Brown?
I think so. Yes. And I think there's another one above him that might come in. I haven't been super spoiled, but I have seen like a comic pan of like more Viltrumites coming to Earth. So
Optimus Prime coming back.
Oh yeah, he is on the show, and he was revealed to be a secret Viltrumite as well. So a lot of Viltrumites are coming to Earth, and we need all the help we can get, which includes Omni-Man. And Omni-Man did some dark shit at the end of season 1.
Oh, murder! You cannot live in the public eye again.
Not at all. But that's the beauty of like comic book adaptations and shows and fantastical worlds like this. In real life, yeah, he's done. But I will buy into Omni-Man redemption arc, at least with Mark and his family. That would be very worthwhile. I love seeing a vulnerable Omni-Man in season 2, and I can't wait to see that again in season 3. So I can't wait, and we'll be reviewing that show on this podcast now that Nathan's all caught up. I can't wait. The next Evil Dead film, we talked about it off stream, but the next Evil Dead is called Evil Dead Burn. Also set to come out in 2026. What a big year for horror there. Exorcist, Clayface, Evil Dead. The next Saw movie, I think, is 2026. Or is it next year?
Maybe next year. Boy, Evan, if only we had a horror-specific podcast to talk about all this horror.
Yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? That would never happen, though. Not for lack of trying. Hello, darkness.
We never tried. We never sat down.
Also, Smile 3 was also greenlit as well.
That was an interesting thing that I kind of wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, like real quick. Smile, we saw Smile 2. Spoilers, Smile 2. I highly recommend, so, New Year's if you haven't seen it. But with the ending, Evan,
yes.
Where do we go? Where do we go now?
Spoilers for Smile 2. It's hard to talk about this without it, but it came out 3 months ago now.
On Paramount Plus.
It's on Paramount Plus. Is it already? Really?
Yeah.
Sweet. I gotta rewatch it. Smile 2. Spoilers. Part 2 ends with the main character. What's her name?
Sky Riley.
Sky Riley, but like, what's the actress's name?
Naomi Scott.
Naomi Scott, not Natalie. Naomi Scott, Sky Riley, not Shy Ronnie, Sky Riley.
You definitely made that joke.
I have. She kills herself, not alone, but on stage in front of thousands of people in one of the most craziest horror scenes I've seen all year. It was a beautiful, fantastic horror scene.
It is very fantastic, very creepy. Like, you have to, I imagine you have to practice that smile, Like, I see some of the actors do it, and I'm like, that is, either you were cast because you were able to do it, or You were really able to get there. My God.
Yeah, it's really hard to get that creepy, like unsettling smile.
Stuck smile.
Yeah, wild.
Uh, but yeah, the interesting bit with that is like, where does it go for? Because my initial thought was like, if you were to keep the claustrophobic descent into madness of the first two films, my initial thought was like, well, you have to do a prequel now to just a different case, because I don't think you can just do a mass level. I don't think it's like the whole world's infected. And this kind of created another interesting thing in universe, which is like the idea of like, are you able to spread the parasite if you're watching the event digitally, or does it have to happen right in front of you with your own eyes?
Right. I think you
Uh,
have to be right in front of you. I think.
I think so too. Which kind of gets a little vague with like obviously people who are a lot closer to the stage to realizing, oh, that is messed up. But if you're like all the way in like the nosebleeds and you just see it on the jumbotron, does it count?
That'd be cool. What if somebody's like with their friend watches it, but they go to get like drinks or popcorn, and they come back and like, what the hell? What just happened? And then they're
that
like,
was crazy. And then later in the week, they're like, I've seen shit. Like that would be interesting, and like
yeah.
and that is an interesting idea. The idea of like there'll be like a number of people who could probably even band together to help one another, while other groups are like, no, this is a weird hoax. Like, what is happening here? That could be an interesting thing to explore. It would also be interesting because likely it wouldn't be like illusions they're seeing that are in sync, right? They would all be like individual at different times. So
Yeah.
things could be very awry.
I agree. It would be very weird. Are you scared that the scale could get too big if they go forward in time?
That's what I was wondering. But if they go this, if they get really creative with like a group dynamic that can turn on one another,
Yeah.
that'd be interesting. Because you can't really spread it to someone who's already infected. And this would be our first example of more than one person at a time being infected too.
Yeah. It's just a massive swing. For all we know, they could still do the prequel. It's called Smile 3, but like we could still get like a how many times has a trilogy or the third of a trilogy went back in time a little bit. So we never really know. But like I do want them to go forward. I do want them to tackle the big swing and go about it in a very creative way. Smile 2 is a very creative movie, much more so than the first one. So I'm really confident in the director to do something different and unique with a big scale while keeping it still very like fearful and like sentimental and crazy. Like that's what made Smile 2 so good. It was still such a strict focus on Sky's slow torment and crazy reveals at the end. Like this singular focus made that movie so special. It could get taken away with Smile 3 if it's so big and grand, but I'm all for it. These movies are very fun and crazy and dark and unsettling. I'll be really on board for a wide variety of stuff that can go awry here. Naomi's Scott did a great job. I'm very curious to see who they get. It could go a Final Destination route where it's not just one person anymore; it's a whole group of people, like Nathan said. So,
yeah. Or what if the knowledge of how it works gets out, and it's like it spreads by killing in front of somebody. What if higher officials get aware of that, and it's like, okay, then we need to eliminate the infected, the innocent people.
Shit, true. But I also don't want it to go like the Purge route, where the Purge sequels got a bit too far out of hand. Stuff like that, where things got too grand and too crazy. The whole public was involved. So, and the beauty of the first two Smile movies is that like everyday people who aren't familiar with it is experiencing like their closest loved one, like Sky's mom, Sky's friends, are like, "What's going on, Sky?" Like it's painful for them to watch their closest loved one get tackled with such a big craziness that they can't see. But now that everybody can see what's going on, it makes things different. So I'm on board with it. This franchise is very wild. I would have never thought this would even be a franchise watching that first movie. But here we are. Smile 3 has no release date, by the way. But maybe you can predict 2020. When did the first one come out?
I want to say 2021 or 2.
2022 was Smile. 2024 is Smile 2. So this could come out in 2026. or because of the new, like, I've been talking about the big scale of it all, could come out 2027. But 2026 at the earliest. These movies don't take a lot to make. They're not super expensive. Maybe those water bottles cost a lot in style too. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. And then lastly, let's end the podcast here talking about the death of the Sony Marvel universe. I also wanted to talk about the new Avatar: The Last Airbender rumors, but I'll save that because those are constantly evolving. So I can save that for next time. And Creature Commandos.
Do you still want to do some movie reviews?
Yeah, let's do it. How many movies are we talking about?
I guess it's really just Craven and Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, I forgot we both saw Lord of the Rings too.
Y2K we saw.
Let's talk Y2K and Lord of the Rings before we go talk about Sony real quick. Yeah.
Okay.
The Cravening. Yeah, we got a lot of thoughts on Cravening, but let's talk about Y2K real quick. I don't have a lot to say other than I did not like this movie. I did not like Y2K. We're kings of bad jokes today, not just me.
Oh, yeah.
I like Rachel, whatever her last name is, Zegler.
I'm supposed to be bad with the names, Ev.
I'm terrible tonight, guys. I'm tired. And the main kid was fine. From It movies.
Billy from It.
Billy from It. And then the New Zealand kid was also like the heart, I guess, of the movie. But the thing that bugged me with this movie, Nathan, Y2K, and there's no need to go into spoilers too much. I think my big deal was just it had this vibe. It had like a stoner vibe to it.
It felt very like coming of age stoner comedy.
Coming of age stoner comedy, and from the jump, it had like a lackadaisical vibe to it, where it had a cool coming of age vibe, and I kind of liked that. Oh, I'm nervous about this girl that I like. I'm always a big fan of that.
It's very super bad.
Yeah, but then shit goes crazy. If you see the trailer for Y2K, computer virus comes alive when the clock strikes midnight for 2000, and the new year happens, and the robots are taking over, and the kids got to find a way to save their town and save themselves. I just didn't buy into any of the stuff that happened afterwards. People start dying, guys. People start dying. Friends and family start dying. And it's supposed to be emotional, but I'm watching this like I feel nothing. And it's because the vibe of the movie was too much of like, oh, okay, comedy, slapstick comedy. And the jokes are even hit and miss. Some of the jokes are just like not for me. And again, it had like this stoner vibe where I'm just like, should I just be high watching this movie? Is that what they're going for here? I just didn't really connect with any of the characters' plights. Again, besides like the whole crush angle, that was pretty sweet. But besides that, I'm just like not vibing with the character dynamics, not vibing with the deaths. And this is a movie where deaths are happening like every other scene, and people and the characters are upset, like, oh, we just lost so and so. I can't do it anymore. Oh no. I'm just like, I don't feel it though. I'm not feeling any of the emotional weight. And the ending of this movie pissed me off. Because okay, fine. Now I'll dive into spoilers. So quick spoilers for Y2K. End of the movie. Spoiler alert: they saved the day. But like, his friend died. The parents are finally like reunited with their son, but it just feels like a normal Tuesday. They're just like, oh, we survived it, guys, but glad we're together.
We'll rebuild.
Man. We'll rebuild. Like they're
still using tech like 5 years later, right?
Like there was no kind of weight. Like the after, not the epilogue, but like I'm talking about like right after they get out of the school where they save the day. It's just like, okay, that was crazy. Let me talk to the parents. And parents are like, oh, he was a good friend of mine. Yeah. And just move on. I'm just like, your son died. You should be in tears, buckets. Your son died. But just everything seems so like cool. Dad, what did you experience during your like assimilation? He was like, oh, that was crazy, guys. Like, there was no weight in this movie. I felt nothing watching this movie. I just sorry, that's my rant. How did you Well,
I'm a sucker for the beginning of movies. I'm I'm a big fan of before shit hits the fan.
Me too.
With things. I think anytime I watch something like Scott Pilgrim or Shaun of the Dead as well, I'm like, man, I like the chill vibes here. Just stay here for 90 minutes. But conflict. So if this was just a normal coming of age movie that was like a sweet, quirky stoner comedy rom-com, I think that would have been even better. I tend to approach when horror gets a little zany. I tend to approach it from the B movie angle of old, and I definitely get some positive vibes there. Like with the practical effects of the assimilated machines, like throwing wires to grab things and pull them together. Like you could tell it's just like shit they're throwing on to something, and it's just moving with like strings or something. I like that stuff. I like when it's corny like that, but as in regards to caring about the events themselves, it doesn't hit as much really. Again, like I was more locked into when it was just the house party and
yes,
school's ending and to get with your crush and all that. Like that's good stuff. Like you could just do that. You don't have to sell me anything else. Just make a normal fucking story. But that being said, I respect Kyle Mooney for going this way. I like him on SNL, and I like what he's bringing here. I think he probably put himself in the plot a little too much, but
a bit too much for a character I did not care for. Yeah,
for sure, it felt like an SNL skit that's overstaying its welcome a little.
Yeah,
but I wasn't mad at it. I was hilariously taken aback by Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit fame. I didn't know he was. I didn't watch the trailer, so I didn't know he was going to be in it. Kind of fucked.
I had no idea either. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, that was funny. That was amusing, and I love the whole '90s vibe and aesthetic. It's really cool. Again, if you just did the rom-com in that vibe, that would have been great, and would have like made you like stand out, but also nostalgic. But we got a little crazy. It felt like two conflicting stories that I wasn't. Granted, I wasn't even fully aware necessarily of what the story was. I think I vaguely knew a while back, and then I forgot for a while. I was like, I saw a clip, and I was like, yeah, cool, cute coming of age thing. And then I looked at the postering, and I was like, is that blood on the plug? So, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a great way of summarizing it. Two conflicting stories that just didn't meld well together. Even though the hook was like, oh, wow, things get crazy during Y2K. I was on board for that. I was on board for like a crazy slasher. Like, whoa. I knew it was going to be weird, but I didn't know it was going to be that weird where I just wasn't caring about the deaths. That's not good for like a slasher, horror, craziness kind of movie. Like this is the end. We talked about it. Yeah, the one with the Jonah Hill. That's this is the end, right? That's perfect movie, perfect comedy, where it's like people are aliens taking over, getting crazy, but it keeps it in a comedic realm where I'm caring about the characters. I care about the relationships. I care about like the dynamics.
It's also an instance where it's like by the end you don't bounce back to normalcy. Like the world has changed permanently. It's gone.
Yeah, this one was it was weird. So that was Y2K. Not totally my vibe, but I can't say I recommend people watch it, but like if you like the 90s vibe,
it's only 90 minutes. It's short.
It's short, yeah. It's not too much of a detriment to your health.
And again, like I like Rachel Zegler in it, and
she's like, always good,
the core, romance stuff is sweet enough that I think if you enjoy that kind of stuff, you'll have a solid time. And again, even if it's not your cup of tea, it's 90 minutes.
Yeah,
inoffensive.
And speaking of inoffensive, I really liked Lord of the Rings: War of the Rohirrim. I see a lot of people like bashing this movie. I think Warner Brothers did a shitty job. Like, first of all, marketing it. They showed that one trailer and that was it, where it was just like
one trailer that's probably revealing a little too much with the king death and.
Yeah, true.
I'm like, don't do that. I would have marketed the childhood friends turned rivals angle.
Yes, and that was also part of my like criticism for the movie. But we'll get into that. But like also, Warner Brothers announcing like they did this movie so they could get so they can extend the film rights for the Lord of the Rings franchise. They didn't want it to like fall away. It's just like admitting that didn't need to happen during the opening weekend of a movie. It just did. It did Kenji. I forget his last name, but Kenji is the guy, a renowned animation filmmaker, doing this movie. Just it feel like they just threw some mud and threw him under the bus. It just didn't look good, in my opinion, and especially again when it's bombing in theaters.
Is it?
I've been saying it made like 5 million opening weekend, maybe even less on the
budget?
third, like 30, 40 million. But that's still like a $25 million loss.
Fuck, man.
And I wanted more anime movies in theaters, and I don't think that's going to be, especially because the head of
there are a lot of anime film releases for movies, but it's only usually for like a week, and it's in like the smallest auditorium.
Exactly, nothing at this stage, and there has been a lot of like the Demon Slayer movies are like wide releases.
Yeah,
the My Hero Academia movies are wide releases. Like certain anime franchise when they have theatrical stuff, they're big. But when it's like a standalone, Suzume, like when it's those big stuff, like those can get wide releases. But when it's like a standalone stuff from like franchises, they deserve bigger marketing and bigger push. Now, getting to the story.
This is crazy too because it's Lord of the Rings from Peter Jackson,
right? As the trailer said. The story was like Dragon Ball had a big releases always. Yeah, again, those anime like Dragon Ball, My Hero, Demon Slayer, they're always going to have big stuff. Regardless of the story, I appreciated the story. It's a story about bravery, heroics, childhood friends to enemies. It has a classic Lord of the Rings tale of like, defending your family, rising above these insurmountable odds. And I think the main character of Hera, was a really solid protagonist who could have been characterized a bit more. I think the weakest part about this movie for me was the characterizations. And I was talking about it with a friend at work who also saw it, and we had the same issue where there's a character of Wolf, the main villain of this movie, and I'm all for a cool villain, but for me, throughout the movie, Hera was like, "Wolf, you're not like this. Wolf, you're not like this. We used to be friends. You're not like this, Wolf." And I'm like, he's like this. This is him. And we saw one flashback. Now, early in the movie, I'm like, okay, as a huge anime fan, anime is classic for doing a lot of flashbacks. A lot of anime has a lot of flashbacks. And we saw one flashback of them, like Hera and Wolf sword fighting as kids, and she scratches his eye. In a very odd scene where she's just like, they're playing with real swords, and he's literally defenseless, and she still attacks him. I'm like, that was a weird scene. But either way, they're kids, whatever.
Which shows he was always like this.
Right? He's like, go away. I don't want my family to see that you did this to me. So go away and act like we were just playing around or whatever.
Can't let them know I lost to a girl.
Right? And it's like, okay, that was an interesting scene. Give me more of that. Because throughout the movie, Hera's like, Wolf, you wouldn't have done this. Wolf, you're my childhood friend. That dynamic just wasn't there. I didn't feel their chemistry. I didn't feel the tug of war, the heartbreak of like my best friends now attacking my own family out of this revenge. I wanted to feel more of that.
I think they probably had a better opportunity to do so. Like the scene where she gets kidnapped, right, and Wolf confronts her again. That would have been a good moment if they had genuinely, it was a good scene, but like if they actually spent more time like reconciling and getting along, as opposed to just like the main conflict of like, what, I'm not good enough for you.
I'm not good enough for you. And again, he escalates his anger because this whole movie, I'm thinking there's more to him. There's more to him.
Is he under a spell? What's happening?
And not under a spell, but just like, what's the reason why you're so angry? Is it because your dad died in a one-hit punch?
He's horny, Evan.
he was really, be my wife, please. It's just like he was so one note. I'm like, I really need this character to do more. And the reason is so like detrimental to me because he's such a big factor in the movie. He's a villain of a Lord of the Rings movie. And villains are always, especially in Lord of the Rings, so important to the storytelling.
He's so driven, like to the point of like sacrificing the betterment of his men and his existing kingdom. He's just like, I will sacrifice it all to burn them down. It's like, what? Like, yes, your father died, but you took out effectively the one man that did that. why are you attacking the innocent people?
Yeah, and he gets banished in a super like strict like banishing. And the thing I was hoping for when he gets banished, I get spoilers for Lord of the Rings if you want to see the movie. He gets banished, um, and we see nothing what happens. And I think the movie wants us to like be surprised from be in Hera's perspective. She didn't see what happened to Wolf. So we're in her shoes. What happened to Wolf? What happened to him? He comes back with this whole wildling army, a la Game of Thrones. He has like the wildlings, these mercenaries on top of his own men that he got. And it's like, oh, I'm back. But in the movie timeline, it's like 10 minutes later. So it didn't seem that like drastic of a return. And then he's even badder than he was before. I'm just like, okay. And like you said, that whole interrogation scene, I was looking for like a Force Awakens moment where like a interesting back and forth interrogation scene. Didn't happen, and he just gets progressively more one note. Positive sides, the action's great. I think the animation with the action is really, really fun, really, really good. I like the family dynamic. I would have loved more time with like the brothers of Hera, but they were solid. And Brian Cox as a Helm Hammerhand, fantastic.
Really good
I think
arc.
it was a great arc. I was very surprised by like, oh, it was actually him being like the demon in the snow. I thought it was like something supernatural, but it wasn't. It was actually him. And it was really cool. He had a solid father-daughter dynamic there. I really liked that aspect of the movie. I think that had a decent amount of heart to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's some good stuff. I think the grand nature of the tale gets me more than any emotional hook they may have gone for, because the grand scale of like a final stand of a kingdom pushing back and outwitting, outsmarting, and standing up, and the whole tale of like the old group of the women warriors who were the last line of defense who saved the kingdom, coming full circle there. That's really cool stuff. And ultimately the whole battle renaming the location of the fortress Helm's Deep. That's cool. And it's fun. There's some fun like little Easter eggs in it too. The fact that orcs are looking for rings all around for Sauron.
Yeah. What do we need these rings for? I was like, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it was fine. And it was cool. They had like an unused dialogue from Christopher Lee for Saruman for a little quick scene. That was nice. That was cool.
And then she's going to see Gandalf.
Yeah, which is like, were they going to do that?
Yeah.
Either way, though, it was beautiful animation too. I do like Hera as a protagonist.
She was solid, yeah.
Yeah, even though like all the focus is primarily on the
father.
The father and the saving of the kingdom. But it is cool. Like she had like the wild spirit and shit, like her arc of befriending the eagles. That was really cool.
That was a really cool full circle moment there. But I think you summed it up nicely. It's like the grand style of it all, the grand story of it all was fascinating, interesting. I wish the character moments shined through. I wish the heart of the movie shined through. Her brothers were like getting killed off, and I'm like, I really wish we could have some time with the brothers. Like a bit more time with certain characters. The movie's already like 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2 hours and 10 minutes. But like I think some of the script could have been tightened up a bit more, and the character dynamics could have been sharper and more like focused on in this movie. But I also recommend it. I presume it's going to be on HBO Max very soon.
I still like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
My bias gave it 4 stars because it's animation, it's 2D, and it's theatrical. I was like, fuck yeah, man! Everybody go support this.
Please support more anime in theaters. Yes, exactly. I just wish it was a better movie. But
not a bad time.
Not a bad time at all. My brother and I were whispering to each other, talking about certain events. Like, oh, that was interesting. Oh, that was cool. The pacing slows down a little bit towards like the 66% mark. Like when they're nearing the end, there's a sequence where they're like snowed in, basically. Pacing slows down a little bit, but otherwise, I had a good time with it. I had a very fun time. Just had a couple character gripes with it. Again, solid story, could have been a lot better. Something that really could have been a lot better. We'll end off here is Kraven, the end of the Sony Marvel universe. You'll know it's the end because there's not even a post-credit sequence.
Oh, you didn't see it?
It's not there. Fuck
It's
off.
there.
Fuck
it was
off.
there. I'm serious.
Fuck off. Oh, yeah, right. The post-credit scene with the roar. They like roar. It was like Kraven. He will return.
No, they had Vulture again.
Oh, what does he say this time? He let me.
Hope the food's better in this joint. So bad.
So bad.
Ah.
So yeah, Kraven. I liked it better than Madam Web.
I did as well. I know like some people are.
Oh.
I know some people are like iffy to say that because at least like Madam Web does offer a like so bad it's good watch in like how absurd the choices were.
That's true, but yeah.
To each their own, yes. But you know, here I'm like, this is a movie. It's competently assembled.
To a degree.
Sure.
Funny enough.
There is like cool stuff in it.
The violence is cool.
Yes, the violence is cool. Aaron Taylor Johnson is you know solid.
He's okay. He gets hit with an awful ADR a lot of this movie. A lot of this movie, some bad.
Evan, I was stunned. There's like medium to wide shots where the dialogues continue. Someone's saying a line, and I'm looking like their mouth didn't move.
Their mouth didn't move.
What the fuck? I'm in IMAX. I see that shit.
Aaron Taylor Johnson got hit with it, and a lot of other characters got hit with it. We're just like, that's not their voice. Especially
I
when
saw
you
it
get
at least like 4 times. I was like,
it's weird. Why is this a problem with the Sony Marvel movies? Madam Web was horrendous with the ADR with the villain, and then this movie, I'm just like, what is happening?
I gotta give credit that at least it wasn't like blatant close-ups that they're doing it.
Yeah. Madam Web was like, that guy is not saying that line. But yeah, Jalen said he automatically liked this more than Venom 3. Venom 3 was bad for me.
Venom 3 is lower for me, but I think I would still take it because you know, well, it's funny because I'm like, I love the absurdity of Tom Hardy and Venom, but that was felt a little subdued in Venom 3, didn't it?
Yeah,
but there is really cool symbiote action in the climax. Which
again, these Marvel movies, they do well. Even in Morbius, the action's solid across all these bad movies. And this is a bad movie, guys. I don't want to say this Kraven movie isn't a bad movie. It's a bad movie. The big thing is Kraven is a terrible hunter. Awful hunter, and I will go to the grave with this. He's a bad hunter.
He's a good human hunter.
And he's a good guy. The whole premise of this movie, Kraven has no arc. He gets pissed off by his dad.
The tagline insinuates that was it like villains aren't born, they're made, or some shit like that. You know, something you've heard a billion times. That insinuates that like his, you know, under the parentage of his father, that he would become a villain, but he leaves. So that's not him.
He leaves early on. He kills bad guys. And then by the end of this movie, you want the chameleon. Me and Taylor were just dying in the theater. When the chameleon, his brother's like, you're like our father. You're just
what are you talking about?
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He did nothing bad this entire movie. The one bad thing he did was not take his brother away from his dad, which is very weird. Very weird scene where he leaves his family's house. His brother's like, hey, take me with you. He's like, nah. I was
sitting, Evan, that's kind of funny because I was sitting there and I was thinking like, Evan's probably going to say this. And then in the back of my brain, I'm like, but he likes Shang-Chi, and didn't Shang-Chi do that?
He didn't leave his. He did leave his sister.
He did.
He did leave his sister, but he was a lot younger, right? Wasn't he like? How old was Shang-Chi? He was like 12.
He was a child. He was a child.
He was a child. In this movie, this dude was picking like 17, 18. My grandmother died, and then I saw her never again after that. Was that in Kraven?
Was it?
I don't remember that. Or was that a Madam Web joke?
Right, maybe.
His dad was more Kraven than Kraven. Let's talk about this. That was so weird. That was weird. So
That was
wait,
odd. That was
so
the definition of you have to earn it.
you have to earn it, right? So his dad, by the way, what's his name?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. I love Russell Crowe.
Yeah. When's the last time you heard that man without an accent?
I know, right? Like, he's doing some weird shit, and I applaud you for that, Russell Crowe. But Nathan, if I were to ask you, what does his dad do that's so bad? What's his? He's supposed to be like,
I don't know his profession.
What is
the mob?
It's so fucking vague. It's comedy.
It's vaguely the mob.
It's vaguely the mob, but we never see the mob. We never see the drugs. Apparently, he's like a drug dealer. Like, that's bullshit. You're not a drug dealer.
Where?
You're a weapons dealer. What do you do? All you do was hunt lions.
But that was for fun.
But that was for fun. It's like, what do you do that's so bad? I don't get it. What you do here? It was just so weird.
Like the mob. It has to be just generic, like
it's just generic. The mob. And it's just so funny. By the end of the movie, Russell Crowe dies, but then Craven comes to his house, and his dad somehow wrote a letter. Did he know he was going to die? It was really weird. He's like, oh,
and then he made him the pelt that he's like, yeah, I guess I will put this on for dad.
For dad that I hated. What?
That I set up to kill from the bear.
That I just killed. And then he sits down.
Comic book pose for the trailer.
Stop it! Stop it! That was bad. Why are you putting it on that jacket?
I was sitting there and I'm just like,
like what?
I really like. You really do get to that point that every Sony movie will do this to you, where you're watching, you're just like, okay.
Okay, yeah, obviously. Like the end of Madam Web, she turned around with her glasses or whatever. It was like, okay, they got to do their obligatory bullshit. So it was just so vague and funny. The dynamic between him and the black woman, what's her name, from West Side Story,
Ariana
DeBose was okay at best. It was so funny where she had this flashback where it's like her grandmother's giving her these tarot cards. And she's like, something crazy will happen in your life. No, it's not. That happened to her. It happened to some random white dude named Craven. It was weird. And
is the craziness that like you ran into this?
That you ran into some random dude and you're giving him like this drink of
potion,
magical potion. It was weird. By the way, his villain name is Craven. His last name is Kravinoff. And he's like, how'd you figure out my name? It's like, everybody knows. Everybody knows. Your name is Craven. Your last name is Kravinoff. It's like my name being, I'm Mr. Hare. Last name Harris. It's like, stop it.
The hair.
Stop it. It's like, what are we doing here? It was so weird. I missed this. The action's like okay. There was a cool chase sequence throughout in the middle of the movie that I liked.
Yeah, I like I like that, like when the character is aware that they are super powered, and it's just any like thing that gets in the way is just more of a minor inconvenience. Like he's running around walls, but then like there's a crowd of people in the way. He's like, get the fuck out of the way, and he's like hopping out the fucking window and then circling back in. Shit like that is like, that's fun. That is a fun time. But then other times I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
The Chameleon is it's character wise, sure. I didn't think it was any bad ADR necessarily for the impressions. I actually thought that was like a cool idea. Like, oh yeah, he's a fucking club singer because he can imitate voices. That's a cool idea.
I did like that, yeah.
Stuff like that. At the very, very end, they committed to a like 100% accurate comic book look of Chameleon for like 3 seconds, and I was like, I didn't think you would do that. That's kind of cool. I'll give you.
That's very cool. Followed up by one of the weirdest scenes in the movie, where
skinny Aaron Taylor Johnson. I was like, I've seen the first Avenger. This isn't
looking up at tall Aaron. Chameleon doesn't work if your actor is very small and very skinny, and he's like looking up at him. Like,
I was like,
only working if you're far away. What's happening here?
Yeah, I was like, does he not change mass?
It was weird as hell. I'm like, shouldn't he change shape and size too? Because he was like looking up at Aaron Taylor Johnson. It was goofy. Yeah. It was stupid. It was weird. Rhino was fine. He looked fine. Rhino looked good. The villain was bad.
Look-wise, I thought was solid. I I was more engaged than I think I would have been if he wasn't being like campy to the scenery style acting. Because if he was as serious as the rest of the cast, I don't think it would have been. I probably would have nodded off. But he was like so crazed that I was like, all right, yeah, right on. Kept me engaged.
This mysterious doctor in New York gave me rhino powers and also gave him.
No, I'll tell you what really fucks me up is like there's this I forget the character name, and that shows, but like I think it's the same actor who's playing Wolfman coming up.
Christopher Abbott is in this movie.
He's in this movie as I don't know who the fuck. I don't know how the fuck or why the fuck. The Foreigner, yeah. I've never heard of that character. You could have
never heard of him
for all I know. But
it was bad.
It was so random. I was like, what is I didn't know what the fuck that was. I was like, what is your powers? How does this work? What is it doing? Who are you? And now you're dead.
Every time he appeared on screen, laughing so hard.
It got to the point where I was like, get out of the way. I don't care about this.
And the funny thing is, he was so powerful. I have no idea what his power was, but it was OP as hell. He was just not only like very fast, but he could like mess with the senses. And at the end of the movie, when he's fighting Kraven, I'm like, oh wow, he's been going through this movie, not getting a scratch on him. How is Kraven going to defeat him? He doesn't. Kraven takes the L big time. He basically loses flat out. Just easy difficulty or no difficulty, loses. He just gets ex machina'd by homegirl Aaron DeBrose with an arrow, who took archery classes as a kid. It was like
not the one line exposition.
It was so weird.
I think Paul Giamatti is more crazed.
But yeah, that was a different interpretation. Way more crazed.
But that is like that's fun on a Saturday morning cartoon with Spidey level.
Yeah, that was fine. But this one, I'm just like Rhino was just okay. But it looked really cool. Also, Rhino, what do you do? Well, what's your? Yeah, he's a vague mob guy.
Well, I mean, he was having a fucking Aldrich Killian moment on the hunting field when he got burned by Russell Crowe. But it was interesting that he had a skin condition that he was stuck with that he has to treat. That was an interesting flip on the Rhino stuck in the suit that is merged with the skin and he can't ever remove it. So from a cross species genetics standpoint that Sony likes to do with the villains, I thought that was solid.
Yeah, I agree.
Kraven himself, though, the idea of him getting the magic spiritual connection with the animals is odd. But I rolled with it because okay, fun superpowers. However, it is important to know that what makes Kraven so captivating is that he trains to be that level of a hunter and a killer. He's not powered. Yeah,
and again, speaking about the hunter, he was like, I found you so easily with Ariana DeBose's character, but then throughout the movie, he's asking her constantly for help, looking for his brother, looking for the Rhino character. He falls into all these traps where he got RPG'd. This guy is a terrible hunter, constantly asking for help. I'm like, how did you find all these other people if you're constantly asking her for help and she's constantly giving you bad information and you're constantly getting hit with the trap? I'm like, what is happening? You are a awful hunter.
He has a random connection for pickup too. Remember in the beginning, he has someone
weird
who never comes back, and this is after he left his dad, so this isn't the connection with him. Who the fuck is that? What do you know? Who do you know?
Probably some character. I wouldn't be surprised if it was originally supposed to be Ariana DeBose's character, but they wanted to make that two separate characters, maybe. That's the first thing that just came into my mind. But so he's a bad hunter, always asking for help, being idiotic. I was gonna say something else. I forget. It was.
I did like the opening. I thought it was a solid fun heist thing.
Kind of like Ghost Protocol.
It's Tuesday type vibe.
Yeah, I liked that a lot too.
Otherwise,
yeah.
I remember the neurotoxin he was experiencing, your greatest fear, and it was a forest of spiders. And I was like, Sony, you have to stop this. You have to stop injecting spiders into this and just calling it a day.
It was bad. That was very funny.
which is a topic I think we're done with Craven, but this is a topic that Sony kind of confirmed it. Like, we could have used Spider-Man this entire time. We chose not to.
We chose not to. And now they ruined their own universe because of it. And we always said the easy fix was like, hey, just set this. You can either set this in present day, have like an Andrew Garfield, not Andrew Garfield, but a different Spider-Man than Tom Holland. We run the risk of like, do you have two Spider-Man in the same universe? But it's like audiences wouldn't have cared. They don't care. Or my route was like Spider-Man 2099 or the Ghost Gwen or the Spider-Gwen route, where it's just
like a very different Spider person.
A very different Spider person in a very different Spider-Verse world, right? That could have been very cool.
You know what? That's not even Vulture anymore. That's just a fucking weird anomaly. Because that's you remember, Evan, how pissed I got of how that's not how the spell worked.
Yeah, and Feige probably gonna forget that happened either way. He'd probably bring him back somehow because Secret.
Isn't that fucked though? He's just gone.
Secret Wars can happen, and then he's back, and then that's it.
What a weird thing too, to just be like, yeah, we'll
just bring him in there for no reason.
We'll write this detail specifically in.
It was weird. But yeah, they chose not to do it.
Stop it. It's not.
They wrote the detail in. Yeah, I gotta go.
You had Madam Web with like 3 different spider people that you could have used as well. Didn't.
Yeah. Weird, baffling. So yeah, it was Sony chose not to do this. I don't know why, but they got high off of Venom. They saw Venom. They got confident that they can do these movies. The first one made $800 million. They thought they could do these movies without Spider-Man. And
even
for Venom,
that
it might have worked.
Was odd. Going into because when you watch the first Venom, it's like this feels so plain. Like if Tom Hardy isn't going crazy, then this movie is just flat. So that's odd. But yeah, it's odd. It's so weird that you just did a whole thing without Spider-Man, and seemingly like you're building some type of sinister. You even brought up Spider-Man in the Morbius post credits, but were you never gonna follow through on that? Like, what the fuck?
Nope, they weren't. For them, it was a one movie at a time thing. They just didn't really care when it came to their live action universe.
And even at the same point, like looking at both the post credits for Venom 2 and No Way Home, it's like you really just tacked Venom on there just for commercialism to check out the next installment. You didn't have any intention to cross the streams. That is horrible. That is so unfair to Tom Hardy and Tom Holland. And I said this before, on Twitter. Anybody who signed on to this thinking that they were going to, whether they thought this was MCU specific or a Spider-Man like project, you are just setting them up for a bland nothing, a literal like nothing random weekly release film that you just happen to have the Marvel stamp logo to
in association with Marvel. Is that association?
I read that every time, and I was especially watching Craven before I even made my decision on how I felt about the movie. I'm just sitting there and it said in association, and I was like, doubt. I doubt it.
They had like no meetings.
No, they don't. They had more meetings with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 when Kevin Feige emailed them.
Exactly. But yeah, that's about it. I don't think they're going to do another Craven, Morbius, Madam Web, Venom. I think they're all done. Besides, again, there's a lingering thing with the Venom, Null, and Spider-Man 4 situation.
At the very least, if you are going to continue that, then just do it with Spider-Man.
Do it with Spider-Man. Tom Holland Spider-Man?
Yeah. And I think that's a relief here is if they are done, then cool. We don't have to just
lose money for them.
Yeah, lose money. Just waste the time, right?
Waste our time while they lose money. Yeah.
What is this going to set up next? It's not.
Nothing. Yeah. No, that's not happening anymore. That's not happening. Especially with Rhino dead now. What's happening?
They don't even have enough members to do it.
Yeah, they probably don't. But yeah, I have to head out.
All right.
So yeah, if you guys can find me on Twitter at Harris EV9. No more complaining about Sony Marvel because it's dead. Now we're done with that.
Now we can complain about actual Spider-Man Sony Marvel.
And now we can complain about we can actually complain about
issues.
Whatever happens. Yeah. So yeah, find me on Twitter, Harris EV9, talking all things anime, movies, and TV, and Star Wars. Watch our Skeleton Crew review we did yesterday. And yeah, that's about it.
And you find me _Time Blazer, making a show called Time Blazer with co-star and creative consultant Evan Harris.
Playing Ben with a universe that's much more well thought out than the Sony Marvel universe.
That's just true. I have, 6 seasons.
Easily. Definitely.
I have them written out. There goes.
Thanks for the memories. Everybody just watched that Venom 3 ending.
Even though they weren't so great. So that being said, if you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe now, ring the bell. That being said, hope you have a great day. Catch you guys later.